When Dr. William Bill Foster was killed during the superhuman civil war by a clone cyborg of Thor called Ragnarok that was created by Bill Foster's friends Reed Richards, Hank Pym, and Tony Stark, Bill Foster's nephew, Thomas Tom Foster, who used to work alongside his uncle in his laboratory while about to graduate from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in 2 years, requested the Black Panther T'Challa train him in combat so he could avenge his uncle's death since he was already in good physical shape by attending Reserve Officers Training Corps, known as ROTC. However, T'Challa would instead try to keep him on the right path of the law. Unfortunately, Tom Foster already vowed to one day solve the mystery of the Pym particle formula, which would aid him in his revenge against Tony Stark, Hank Pym, and Reed Richards. So as time progressed, when the rampaging monster with near limitless power, famously known as the Incredible Hulk, was feared for the threat he posed to humanity, the Illuminati that consisted of Reed Richards, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Black Bolt exiled him into outer space, towards an idyllic, uninhabited planet where he posed no threat to himself or others. However, the shuttle he was in ended up flying off course and passing through a wormhole instead, where it eventually landed on a savage planet called Sakaar. So after being weakened by his trip through the portal, he was sold into slavery by the inhabitants to battle to the death as a gladiator in a great arena. Unsurprisingly, he survived, along with a ragtag group of battle-tested survivors that together they went on to liberate the planet from its oppressor, Red King, which subsequently led to the Hulk being crowned the new emperor, called the Green King, while taking the Red King's lieutenant as his empress. Furthermore, now on his third day of a peaceful rule, tragedy would suddenly strike when children were playing around his old shuttle, and it suddenly exploded from the automated system built in that unleashed the force of an atomic bomb, killing millions, including Hulk's empress, who was pregnant with his child. And to make matters worse, the explosion cracked the planet's tectonic plates, thus dooming the whole planet itself. Nevertheless, Hulk survived, along with war-bound warriors, who next escaped the planet in a ship and set their course to Earth to unleash their vengeance on those responsible. Unsurprisingly, the Hulk was stopped on the moon first in order to defeat the king of the Inhumans, Black Bolt, while next making it on Earth to give the people of New York 24 hours to evacuate after broadcasting his motive. Meanwhile, on the Hudson River, while everyone was evacuating, Tom Foster, along with other Hulk sympathizers, were heading towards New York on a rowboat as chaos ensued and the beginning of World War Hulk begun, with Tom Foster risking his life just to proudly watch Hulk destroy those who were responsible for his uncle's death, while surprisingly being joined by unregistered superheroes like Hercules, Warren Worthington, also known as Angel, Namor the Submariner, Rick Jones, and Amadeus Cho, who all was in support of the Hulk, as well as 98 renegade civilians. Subsequently, however, some were in disagreement on how the Hulk, along with his war-bound warriors, were going about destroying the city. Nonetheless, Tom Foster wasn't one of them, as he wanted to see the world burn at the hands of the Hulk. However, things would take a surprising turn when S.H.I.E.L.D. Commander Gabriel Jones, who was aware of the renegades, decided to unofficially deputize each and every one of them to protect any civilian that was in need of it, while the Hulk was battling and eventually defeating Doctor Strange, who was channeling the power of an extra-dimensional demon named Zom. Meanwhile, Tom Foster, along with other renegades, took that time to address the media on why heroes like Reed Richards, Tony Stark, Black Bolt, and Doctor Strange deserved what was coming to them, as the Hulk continued his rampage through New York City for 48 hours before it was eventually over, after the Hulk brutally beat Iron Man, who was within his Hulkbuster armor suit, his cousin Jennifer Walter, also known as the Savage She-Hulk, Ares, the Greek god of war, the gamma-radiated friend, rival, and psychiatrist of Bruce Banner, Doc Samson, the second most powerful member of the Fantastic Four, Johnny Storm, also known as the Human Torch, the original quintessential tough guy, Ben Grimm, better known as The Thing, the leader of the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards, also known as Mr. Fantastic, and his wife, the founding member of the team, Susan Storm, better known as the Invisible Woman, and lastly, Robert Reynolds, famously known as the egrophobic schizophrenic Sentry, who has the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns, as they engage in a catastrophic battle where the Hulk unleashed his fullest potential, becoming what would be known as World Breaker Hulk, as Sentry 2 was eventually defeated. However, luckily, Tony Stark managed to turn Hulk back into Bruce Banner by using multiple orbital satellites that had mounted high-focus beams which nullified his gamma radiation. Thereafter, 16 blocks away from Broadway, Tom Foster would make his way to a damaged Avengers mansion on 27th and Broadway, after solving how to make the PIM particle formula and made his way down within the sub-basement laboratory, where he would produce and drink the 3rd generation nanoparticle acceleration formula that grew him into a giant, as he next went after Tony Stark, who was wearing his Iron Man armor, and recognized him. Surprisingly, Iron Man already knew Tom Foster's motives, but would rather help him with his anger issues and probably give him a job afterwards. Unsurprisingly, however, Iron Man avoided the confrontation by quickly knocking him over before flying off to handle more serious matters. When suddenly, Tom Foster's attention was diverted when he seen one alien faction from the Hulk's army killing another due to prior eternal conflicts back on their planet, which, when observing the loss of lives, Tom Foster quickly sprung into action to try and prevent more deaths, only to get caught in the crossfire, while realizing harboring vengeance was destructive to the mind, body, and soul. So after the chaos, he went on to recover those who fell in battle, while putting his hatred towards Iron Man aside, as he next went on to help with the search and rescue process for 2 straight weeks, while also aiding with reconstruction. Moreover, Tom Foster made the decision to take up his uncle's mantle and become the superhero Black Goliath, while after wanting to volunteer and joining Damage Control, which is an engineering and reconstruction firm that specializes in the repair of property destroyed in superhuman conflicts. Unfortunately, the Thunderbolts, who now work for the government, showed up, requesting the heroes present to produce a superhuman registration card, which is a federal offense if they didn't have one, since the law states the Superhuman Registration Act requires that all humans with extraordinary abilities register with the government and produce proof of registration to designated law officers whenever reasonably requested. However, luckily, our heroes were given 3 days to provide it if they didn't have it. Subsequently, Black Goliath didn't care and continued with the search and rescue of close to 300,000 New Yorkers either couldn't evacuate or chose not to, and possibly now trapped under tons of rubble. Following this, Tom Foster will decide to remove the adjective of black and just start calling himself Goliath, before taking his government-regulated 4-hour break every 12 hours work. Succeeding this, the ex-Avenger, Simon Williams, also known as Wonder Man, would convince Goliath, along with other lesser-known superheroes, that the Avengers being a concept and deciding what's best for the world was wrong, since they were solely responsible for creating the homicidal artificial intelligent robot called Ultron, while thereafter their member, Scarlet Witch, later tore reality in half, decimating an entire mutant species without facing consequences. And let's not forget, the Avengers was the reason for the tragedy known as the Superhuman Civil War, World War Hulk, and the death of Sentry, who Iron Man swore to protect. So now persuaded, our new team of anti-heroes called the Ravengers went on to attack the Avengers Mansion in order to finally put an end to the terrorist group, which was an epic and destructive battle that caught the Avengers off guard. But they still managed to put up a good fight, where Luke Cage's wife, Jessica Jones, managed to defeat our young Goliath, before the Avengers as a whole were surprisingly defeated by the Ravengers. Unfortunately enough, an unconscious Goliath would be left behind by his team, which led him to be apprehended by authorities, and later sentenced to prison time at the Cellar, which is a prison built specifically to hold criminals with superpowers, or who are too dangerous for a regular prison. So as time progressed, a day would come when Tom Foster was invited to join a prison riot that would have guaranteed a successful prison escape. But however, Tom Foster refused and ended up helping the prison guards instead by combating and defeating his fellow inmates, thus saving countless lives on both sides, not including if the inmates had managed to escape 1 week after the start of the Second Superhuman Civil War. Furthermore, that good deed would later cause the court system to release Tom Foster, making him now a free man, and no longer inmate number 24653, but instead a newly reformed 6'1" expert in biochemistry, particle physics, and molecular quantum mechanics, while later teaming up with Ant-Man Scott Lang, Eric Jolson, better known as Atlas, and Raz Malhotra, also known as Giant Man, who all had the ability of size alteration, which Atlas, Ant-Man, and Giant Man could grow to 65 feet max, while Goliath was only able to grow to 25 feet maximum. Moreover, they were on a mission to locate and infiltrate Frost Giant territory in Miami, while wearing Frost Giant disguises, and next purchase survival supplies in the Frost Giant marketplace, while after navigate frozen wastelands to reach the stronghold of the elder god Ymir, the eldest and most powerful of the Frost Giants, to defeat him, because prior the Dark Elf King Malekith had laid waste to 9 of the 10 realms, which left Midgard, which is Earth, to be next. So the Dark Elf army invaded New York, as the king of the Frost Giants, Laufey, took claim of North America itself, Moreover, after several close calls and near misses, our heroes finally reached Ymir's stronghold, where they encountered and rescued Ant-Man's daughter, Cassie Lang, before surprisingly freeing Ymir, who was actually being held captive and tortured to breed ice giants, who were more powerful than frost giants. Thereafter, Ymir voluntarily left Earth Realm, and our heroes successfully accomplished their mission. Succeeding this, Goliath continued working for damage control, where Congress created for them the federal insurance program called Superfund that will cover superhero damage, sort of like FEMA, except when the disaster is caused by superheroes. That being said, Tom Foster is Marvel Comics' new Goliath.